Hello, ladies and gents. It is the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Gatherence. I'm coming back with my Christianity or 14 ways. I just want to say every religion, every political spectrum across the UK is welcome. Ethos is the word. Fiducia Katum Bakam. The world is one big family. Without a left wing and a right wing, there would be no wings to fly, or no wings for the bird to fly. No wings for the plane to fly. Thank you all so much. We need a left wing and the right wing perspective for this to make sense. I just want to say I'm ever so sorry I haven't been present just recently. I've had a burst blood vessel behind the eye. I've had a brain traumatic time when I was 18, a bit of an incident. But I'm not going to go into it. It's not about me being narcissistic today. It's about me giving thanks for the people of actually coming through. I want to say, I want you guys to make that change. I want you guys to make that change, the way away from sin, and to forward your life in a form of purity, living a life purely of the aesthetics of life, the highs and the lows. I'll give you a bit of a read of our Sunday reading before we get into UK politics and how we're going to shape up Britain together. You want to have your voice, your opinion heard. It's day 7 of Jacob, Genesis 32 to 28. Your name will be no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God. Jacob comes from a family with problems and marries into one, where the head of the family is as convincing as he is. What a setup! He meets his match with his uncle Laban, who gets 14 years of hard work out of Jacob in exchange for marrying his 2 daughters. These cousins of Jacob are called Leah and Rachel. A cynic might say that's what you get when you deal with relatives. Jacob was always looking for an angle or a shortcut. He was always planning how he could get the better of his opponent, relative or even a friend. Then suddenly he meets more than his match. When a man turns up and they wrestle all night, it becomes obvious that it is no ordinary man, but God himself. Afterwards, Jacob is renamed Israel, which significantly means wrestler with God in Hebrew. Change your name doesn't change a person. Israel is still remarkably like a Jacob at times, putting off the old and putting on the new is the right thing to do, and it's biblical, but it's not easy. Sometimes too many in the world are resigned to the status quo. That's how I was made. Believers, however, should never be static, as we are constantly being reshaped into what God wants us to be. Changes can be good, especially when God is the changer. Changing your name doesn't mean you're going to be a different person. It could give you a different perspective or an outlook of life, maybe changing your circumstances. You need to make sacrifice away from them people that give you that burden in life for your success. When I say throughout many of my streams, make that change. Look for, getting older, maybe things are deteriorating. Your limbs, maybe you've done too much manual work, getting arthritis in your hands, in your feet, in your elbows, and all your joints need to slow down. You need to make that change for the better of your wealth. Better of your wealth. Why is it better of your wealth? Because health is wealth, and you need to change your circumstance. Get into some sort of adult learning. Change your job. Change your job. Maybe changing your hobby as well, so you can comprehend with a easy 9 to 5 job. Absolutely. I just want to, like I say, I want to say ever so sorry to the ones that have missed me. I've been absent because of my illness. I've had a head injury, severe head injury when I was 18. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I've done boxing as a courageous outlook on life, to not walk on eggshells, not to be scared to go to the front door, not to have anxiety. We have to fight our demons to be strong. I've become strong, wise, and independent in life. I try to give people a different direction. Give people, word of advice, how to make that change for the better of their well-being. It's not big. Boxing, you can't play boxing. You can't play boxing. I'm professional boxing to fight my demons. You can't play boxing. Unfortunately, I didn't get too many head blows to the head throughout my boxing career. I was always 9 times out of 10, I was always the taller boxer. Although I did tackle some bigger opponents, but that's neither here or there, or by the by. Anyway, we're looking at the car incidents inside the UK. My compassion lies within the UK as a whole, not just in Essex, because obviously I'm trying to apply to be a local cancer, but the whole of the UK, giving car incidents, giving people guidelines how to use their car in Essex, around the whole. Trying to support NHS expertise of a job they do day in, day out. None of us can ever sit there and put them down for the job they do. They're putting baked beans and toast on the table for their family. And some of us might sit there and sometimes you might become a critic in the media thinking, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do it that way? We shouldn't become critical when you're not doing a job, because if you was doing the job, you might do it exactly the way they'd done it, because it seemed necessary what you'd done at the time, isn't it? So let's not be a critic to how the police condone themselves around certain scenarios. Maybe they didn't intervene quick enough, perhaps. But the jobs they do is like, attending car incidents, getting babies out of car crashes and whatnot. They see a lot go on. Obviously, they're trying to arrest criminals a lot of the time under the influence of narcotics. Knock on someone's door and they're off their face on narcotics, these youth of today. Some of the things they have to put up with. It's only a 9 till 5 job for some will work for the night. But the things they see and do is horrific, and they do it pretty much every day of the week. We can only be thankful for what they do. Anyway, check your engine oil, water coolant tank, make sure they're topped up to maximum level. Check your PSI, make sure you've got plenty sufficient PSI. Check on the side of the tread as your PSI limits to what your tyre pressure should be. Make sure your tyres are not bowled. Make sure you've got sufficient fuel on board when you go travelling from A to B. You might get stuck in the instant. Road works, congestion, road closure, lane closed, or there could be a weather incident. Road works such as like tarmac, load potholes in the road, so they've got their tarmac in the road, so you have to go a different direction. Make sure you and passengers on board have seatbelts, and babies have seatbelts and their baby seat adjacent to the car seat. Check further police instructions, further roadworks, police safety signs. Check your centre mirror, wing mirror before acting into a safe, sufficient directing choice. Making sure motorcyclists and cars not overtaken. Making sure pedestrians are fully cross the crossing. If it's two can cross, it could be when you say two can cross, it could be a car, it could be a bike or a pedestrian. Make sure they fully crossed the road before you justify it onto the road. There you go. We're going to look at the road incidents ahead of us, ladies and gents. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. It's Proclamation News and Gatherence. You can find us on Google as well now. We're on podcast. We are on Castbox. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I'm on Proclamation Johnson. On the M11, we have heavy traffic on the M11 southbound from Junction 7 A414. Keynes Lane, Harlow to Junction 6, M25 to Junction 27. 24th October 2021 is reported at 12:32 p.m. Stay tuned, guys, because I want to give you a bit of an upvote why you should get involved in politics. Not only will give you something to do, give you a bit of compassion for people like me, just such as myself. It gives you a chance to look after your children's, your grandchildren's kids as they grow older, as you pass away. Always look for a better future for your kids, always. M11, road closed, recovery work. Traffic open well, detour in operation. Road closed due to recovery work on the M11 northbound between Junction 10 A505 Duxford and Junction 11 A10 Cambridge Road, Cambridge South Harston. Traffic is open well. Recovery work still ongoing as the lorry is upside down. 2 other cars were involved when the incident happened. 23rd of October, 11:05. This was reported yesterday. It's 24th today, isn't it? Yes, it is. Absolutely. We're going to look at in Norwich, ladies and gents. In Norwich, we have A147, slow traffic on A417, Chapelfield Road, northbound before A1108, Convent Road. Reported today at 10:30. Just above Milton Keynes, we have M11 lane closed, stalled vehicle, slow traffic, 1 lane closed, slow traffic due to stalled vehicle on M1 southbound from Junction 15, A45, Northampton to Newport, Pagnell services, lane 1 of 3 is closed. This is separate to the incident on the other side, the services between Junction 15 and Junction 14. This was reported at 11:55 a.m. on the 24th of October. I am absolutely supporting everyone inside the UK. I'm not selfish. I'm not narcissistic. I don't even drive. So why should I care about the incidents on the road? Because I do. Because there's innocent people. There's such as your nan, your granddad, my granddad, your nan, aunties, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters. The whole world is one big family. Fadusha Khatun Bakam. The world is one big family in Hindu. Thank you very much. Please remember that when you're becoming fascist or irrational towards another folk, treat your neighbour like yourself. Love thy neighbour like you love yourself. Why would you get involved in politics? Why would you get involved in politics? People go, politics is politics that. Politics is in every single day life. Global warming can affect us all. Global warming can affect us all. Industrialisation, pollution, the way you run your car. You've got an old car, but it's it's so old that it's leaking oil everywhere. These are the things that could destroy the earth, the ozone layer, that blow up the world and ruin your children's future for your actions. Being selfish. Littering, fly tipping, all these kind of things. People need to recycle. People need to recycle their stuff. Be on the ball with recycling, ladies and gents. Check with your local council to see when the bin men are coming, when the recycling men, what days they come. Get your recycling ready to put out the front. Don't let it build up. Don't leave a mess outside your house. Keep Britain tidy. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. I'm going to give you a bit of an upfront why I am who I am and why I support Conservative. I must say, my academics with writing is quite influential. I have a widespread jurisdiction when it comes to writing, especially. Not so much when I try to exfoliate my expressions on this media channel. I aim to incline, not decline. I aim to inspire, not expire. I always work on progression. I always try and do more for God than I did yesterday, and tomorrow I'll do more for God than today. That's the way I try and be influential. Trying to give people a better guidance for their own life. Having that in thought and that in mind, I try and better myself each and every day. Exactly how I want you guys to do. Get involved in something. I go to my church every Sunday. I study politics pretty much every day. If I'm away from here, don't forget I'm still in my academic integrity of arts and humanities, which is history and politics. So I'm learning about, I like history is important. That's how you learn about how fascism is still about today in a modern society. How can we change the culturalism all to get on? How can we change it? Sometimes it's just lack of life chances or sin. When I say sin, alcoholism or narcotics, that's a lot of the trouble when it comes to fascism and people hating one another. Absolutely, putting negative substance in your body will bring out a negative. Putting in negative, it's going to come out with negative. Putting something positive, you're going to get positive feedback. You put diesel in a Ferrari engine, you're going to burn the engine out. Simple, isn't it? Simple maths, simple science. Investigating the social world. Absolutely. Simple science, isn't it? Use simple science, you get simple maths. Simple, there you go. Anyway, this is why I'm a Conservative member. Apart from my granddad was in World War II under Winston Churchill, and I was born in postmodernism of 1983, with Margaret Thatcher and was at the realm from 1980. 1983 was also the Great Maze Escape. Great Maze Escape in Cardiff, Wales. Biggest prison escape in the UK. Anyway, we're going to look back at some of the historical prime ministers for Conservative. Going far back, I'll tell you how far it goes back. I'm not going to go that far back. 1762, but we're not going to go reading from that far back because it's too much to read. We're going to go Marquess of Salisbury, 1985. Arthur Balfour of 1902. Stanley Baldwin of 1923. These are the prime ministers. Winston Churchill and Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain was 1937 to 1940. Then Winston Churchill, 1940 to 45, since through the World War. Winston Churchill again, 1955. Howard Macmillan, 1957. Alec Douglas Home, 1963. Edward Heath. Margaret Thatcher, 1979 to 1990. I was in 1980, so I wasn't far off, I guess. John Major, 1990 to 1997. Tony Blair, 1997 to 2007. David Cameron, 2010 to 2016. Theresa May, 2016 to 2019. I thought she was 2017 to be fair, but 2016. Boris Johnson, 2019 till present. Boris Johnson, a lot of people try and criticise him, try and put him down, try and make him leave the throne. But look what he has done. He promised better infrastructure. Keeps talking about better infrastructure. Bettering people's life chances. Do you feel that your life chances have become more admirable? There's more insight for adult learning. There's more constitutions. There's more communities that are supporting adult learning to better your aspiration. You've got to make that sacrifice. It's down to you, yourself, the individual, to make a sacrifice to better your well-being, to better your education. You can't go if, buts or maybes and blame somebody else. You've got to go absolutes and make sacrifice and get up and do it. You've got to be a go-getter. Doesn't matter how much sacrifice you have to take. If it's to, put yourself in debt with bills, you have to make sacrifices for now to get your better education. Then you can always pay your debts back when you get a better job, better education. Anyway, the Conservatives are all devastated by the senseless death of our much loved friend and colleague, Sir David Ames, MP, one of the nicest and most charming people you could meet. He was killed doing the job he loved, serving his constituents. A life tragically ended. His family and loved ones are all in our thoughts and prayers. Oliver Dowden, Chairman of the Conservative Party. Let's read this. People that are looking to join up to the Conservative Party that haven't yet done so. It's only £2 a month, or you can just pay the one up front cost. I paid £2 a month. You don't notice it even leaving your bank. It was £2 to help shape up UK. This is what your membership can get you. It can help Conservative win elections. All your subscriptions goes towards their campaigns. Choose candidates and vote in leadership elections, so you can choose the people you want to represent you Take part in the campaigns group. I went out campaigning yesterday. Like the Women's Conservative Organisation or Young Conservative, meet like-minded people and make a difference to our country. Come to a local conference, join our MPs, councillors and activists in the biggest event of the Conservative calendar. Get the latest from inside the party with regular member updates and exclusive members invites. Influence party policy by giving feedback on policy briefs. Connect with local Conservatives. As a member, you become part of your local association. Support local campaigns and attend social events with members just like you. Stand for election. Members have the opportunity to stand for election as Conservatives. So if you decide that you want to take part in our democracy, you can. I just applied for a local councillor. I've only been with Conservative for a year. But why did I feel like I had the right to stand as a local councillor? Because I've got many years of cognitive skills within being brought up in suburban areas. I've been so many years learning through different cultures. I've got so many years of building, construction, local infrastructure, park and rides, underpinning, all these kind of things that could help become a councillor. How do you get things fixed? The water main burst, where you get someone in a community goes, our water main's burst in our coming down our main road. They ring the local council for help. What does the local council do? They have to ring up Essex Highways for these repairs. That's exactly what a councillor has to do. You have to know that these cognitive skills, you need more than just one cognitive skill to make you warranted to become a local councillor. Exactly what I did. I've got the initiative to be a phenomenal councillor. Age 38, to a lot of councillors, MPs, 38 is young in years, but I'd started construction when I was 30 years old, so I'm not fickle in the slightest. Absolutely not. I just want to say hello to everyone in listening at the moment. Colton, Prtestor, Jameson, Michael, Brandon, Bonnie, Lauren, Mike, Danielle, Hannah, Jeremy, Sydney, Ryan, David. I'll say David Johnson because we have the same surname. Hello there, sir. Shiba, Cognitive, ID. Welcome to our show. Yeah, like I say, it's under 26. It's £5 a year. Standard membership is £25 a year. Armed Forces is £15 a year. Under 26, they're making it cheap for under 26 to help. You know, you're an adult. You want to get your children involved in politics. There you go. Now's your chance. Get them in there young. Start them off young. They might be able to come an MP time they're 30 if you get them in there young. So they can start learning and be on a good side of life. That's exactly what you want for your kids. Exactly what we all need for our kids. Get them on a good side of life. Get them in and out through church all their life, away from sin. You want them to live the best life they can live. Absolutely. In Essex, men's rehabilitation. Act of Reus is caused. Psychomotor state of 8 people that's been arrested. Why are these people allowed throughout humanities? Brentwood, 8 murder arrests after 2 teenage boys die. Police were called to an area of Brentwood, Essex, in the early hours of Sunday. 8 men have been arrested on suspicion of murder after 2 teenage boys died. So this is what I was just saying about the police. People don't give the police, you know, the praise they need for the jobs they have to do. Essex Police said officers found 3 people injured after receiving a number of calls to Regency Court, Brentwood, at about 1:30 BST. Two of those had since died, the force said, while a third was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Brentwood and Ongar's Conservative MP Alex Burgart called it a very dark day for our town. Police said they were working to establish how the boys died. Post-mortem examinations would take place. The BBC understands the boys are suspected to have suffered stab wounds. Detective Chief Inspector Andy Clarkson of the Kent and Essex Serious Crime Directorate said, "We understand there will naturally be shock and concern within the community after such a tragic loss of life. But at this stage, we do not believe there is any wider threat to the public." I want to go back to my campaign after this horrific incident. Police said 2 of the 3 injured boys died. The detective said the incident required immediate and large-scale response and that investigations will continue throughout Sunday. He added, "We know there were a number of witnesses to this incident, and I would urge anyone who saw anything in Measley Court and the roads around in the central Brentwood between 1 and 2 to come forward and speak to us if you have not already done so." Mr. Burgott said, "This is a very dark day for our town. My deepest condolences to the families of the boys who have dreadfully lost their lives. I must urge anyone with any information to immediately share it with the police so that justice can be done as swiftly as possible." Chief Inspector Mark Barber added, "There will be a highly visible police presence in Brentwood on Sunday. I can acutely aware that the incident will shock many within the community," he said. "My officers will be there throughout the day. They will be there to reassure you and keep you safe. If you have any concerns or any information of the incident, then please do not hesitate to come forward and speak to them." Sad, horrific day. More knife crime. How many times do I have to get behind the radio, behind the headset, behind the people of the UK, say make that change? Yes, everyone handing their sharp knives. All the shops take knives off shop floors, put them behind the counter. Should be behind the counter of the cigarette store, shouldn't they? People with a license should be the only ones allowed to buy them, as per se before. Why am I still saying exactly the same predicament? How many days later? Do I need to set a petition out, or is anyone here clever enough to do it? I've said it, people have heard it, nothing's been done about it. My voice, my opinion needs to be heard, and everyone needs to support it. I know, oh, we ain't got a sharp knife, we can't cut our cheese. You do it with a butter knife. You have to learn to do it with a butter knife. If you save someone's life, do it with a butter knife. You can actually cut a big block of cheese off and melt it in a frying pan and put that on your bit of bread, on your bread. That's what you can do. You fry it, melt it, and then stick it on top of your bread. That's how a lot of people do their cheese and toast. That's the professional way to do your cheese and toast. The better way, it tastes a lot better. Believe me, I know. My auntie was the one that showed me that, and I'll tell you what, it is beautiful. We're going to have a quick, short break before we talk about COVID, UK cases. Things are picking up, and it's getting horrific. I'm going to go for my COVID booster. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going for my COVID booster. Absolutely. Bear with me, guys. Oh, my goodness. Hiccups as well. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Done. And move on. Vote Conservative on Thursday. Get Brexit. What?
Well, they're arguing. They just need to get it done. I'll get it. Oh, hi.
What is it?
It's carol singers.
You know what, come in and tell them, bother off. That was Boris Johnson's Christmas advert. We don't need that one. Huh?
Hey Boris, you alright?
I'm good. How are you?
What's been on your mind today?
Well, I can't hide it from. I've been thinking a bit about this general election campaign.
And how do you typically start your day?
I tend to get up pretty early, and then I go down and take the dog for a walk, and the dog does his business, and so on. So that's my start for the day.
And what's the most surprising thing you found about being PM?
I was pretty incredulous the other day when I found out I couldn't actually get a Thai curry to deliver to number 10 because of the security problems. The security there was too tight.
And on that subject, fish and chips or a Sunday roast?
I think fish and chips on a cold night on a beach. You can't beat it.
Why are we having this election?
We're having this election because basically the whole political system is paralyzed, and we have a fantastic Brexit deal that we did. Nobody said we could do it, but we did. And then Parliament refused to knock it through, so that we're stuck in the EU when the people voted to leave. So we need to have an election.
This one divides opinion, but Marmite, yes or no?
Marmite, yes.
What do you think are the biggest challenges facing our country?
Look, this is an amazing country. It's going gangbusters in so many ways. We lead the world in so many technologies, but our political system is blocked at the moment. And that's the thing that we need to address. We need to get a new government, a new majority government, and I hope a conservative government, and move this thing on.
Now, I know you're a very busy man, but when was the last time you cooked, and what did you make?
How are you? The last time I cooked was last night, and I made steak and oven chips, which were very good.
What's your favourite band?
Look, this is either the Clash or it's the Rolling Stones, and mainly I listen to the Rolling Stones nowadays. So you can make of that what you will.
What would you say to someone who's wondering who to vote for at this election?
I would say it is a very, very simple choice. You can either go with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, and be in no doubt that if you vote for any other of the minor parties, you will end up with a coalition of chaos with Jeremy Corbyn at the lead, at the head. And that will not only be an economic catastrophe for this country, it will also be a political disaster, because their programme, would you believe it, is for another Brexit referendum, next year, spend the whole of the next year in a referendum on Brexit, a referendum on Scotland, to say nothing of the economic catastrophe involved in a Corbyn-led socialist, semi-Marxist Labour government. Or you can go with us, get Brexit done with our deal, which is ready to go, oven ready, slam it in the microwave, it's there. Get it done in days, and take the country forward. We're investing massively in the NHS, the biggest investment for a generation, massively in schools, in policing, 20,000 police we're putting out on the streets of this country. We're going to be doing a huge infrastructure revolution for the whole of the UK, gigabit broadband across the whole of the UK. And we can pay for all that because we're the party that understands the importance of a dynamic market economy. So that's my message. Vote for us. Vote for a compassionate, one nation, conservative government that understands the symmetry between a free market economy and great public services. Let's get Brexit done and unleash the potential of this whole country. See you later.
There you go, ladies and gents. Unleash the potential. Unleash the potential, Boris Johnson says. Absolutely. The economics, the economic market society, people come back to work, working class people, as he said, more people are back to work. a lot more people. He hasn't said it in this statement today, but he said it in more recent statements. He said he's going to get the economy moving forward. He's going to unleash Britain's potential. Exactly what it says on the tin. Boris Johnson has unleashed Britain's potential. More people are going back to work. I'm even trying to pursue a career off my radio station, becoming a figure within my local constituency church. It's a massive community of Highwoods, Colchester, serving the whole community of Highwoods, and me as a local councillor speaking with the public is important. Seeing what people's provocations are in today's modern society. Being a local councillor is important to speak to the community, isn't it, as a whole? What are their problems? What are they facing? Maybe lack of medical staff, maybe lack of nourishment for their children at school, or lack of education, lack of life chances. And I can go, this is what I did, this is how I done things, this is how you can shape up better for your child's well-being, or your young adults. Young children, you know, young adults, aren't they? They've grown up, they're in their teens now, 18s, 20s perhaps. How can they better their well-being? Stick them in adult learning. Maybe they like myself, like-minded, like myself, they was too indulged in athleticism. Didn't get on with their GCSEs enough because they lacked oxygen. Oxygen in your brain capacity is important, isn't it? We all have oxygenated blood. If you ain't got enough oxygenated blood going around your body, you're starving your brain capacity to learn and educate and get widespread jurisdiction and become exfoliating your expressions to a phenomenal jurisdiction. Absolutely. You need to do adult learning. You need to read upon read. Rather than get up in the morning and go for a run. Well, you still do your run, but shorten your runs, do more reading throughout the day. Reading is important. Take notes. It's very important. Have a dictionary. I've got a political dictionary. I've got a law dictionary. It's words I like to express throughout my media. This is my media. This is what I do, media studies since 1996, learning tabloid and broadsheet newspapers, and this is what you get every day to the dotted line when I'm online. If I'm well, obviously I suffer with severe headaches. So I do have time out every now and then, but that is either here or by the by. That's part of my athleticism that's took a toll on my life. Header in the ball, getting punched in the head for professional boxing, and I had a severe head injury when I was 18. Anyway, anti-vaxxers. This is in Colchester, my constituency. Anti-vaxxers storm Colchester Hospital, handing out legal notice and telling NHS staff COVID is a hoax. Let me tell you now, you imbeciles, if these anti-vaxxers are listening, I've lost, my best friend has lost their father. My son and all his side of the family have all had COVID. Touch wood, none of my family have had COVID yet. We've been taking safety precautions because my father is going in for a heart operation. So we've got to be very, very careful, very vigilant around humanities, especially these imbeciles that are thinking it's a hoax and going into hospital causing absolute chaos for the workers. They need 24-hour screening, NHS workers by the police. I know there's police usually always down there, but we cannot be having this incompetence, inappropriate, incomprehensible society walking out of NHS. It's horrific. It's not big and it's not clever. I'm going to do a message on social media, trying to get a message out to these absolute juveniles, just doing this for no reason, for our professionals trying to do their job. It's not fair. It's not clever. The video has gone viral on social media. It's horrific, absolutely horrific. Colchester hospital staff first refused to take the documents from anti-vaccination group. The group of conspiracy theorists who say the COVID pandemic is a hoax entered an hospital, Essex Hospital, to serve legal notice to its CEO. Footage posted on social media shows a man confronting Colchester hospital staff with legally binding paperwork claiming that COVID-19 is a hoax. They got a hoax letter from the devil, and they've taken it in to the NHS. I've seen a few of these hoax people on social media talking a load of gobbledygook. It's horrific. It's substantially disturbing. The man and his group didn't wear a mask as they handed over the documents, including the Nuremberg Code, a set of ethical principles commonly and incorrectly used by anti-vaccination protesters. In the video, which circulated on social media, the man tells an NHS staff member, I don't need to give you my name. However, we have liability and witnesses evidence to serve the Nick Holm, who's your chief executive, as well as all the other governors and chief executive officers at Colchester Hospital. The man then begins handing over sets of documents in brown envelopes, claiming they are legally binding and that the hospital should get its lawyers to have a look. The man states he's handed over the Nuremberg Code, the UK Medical Alliance, and the Panda Declaration for the Protection of Children. He goes on to give motu proprio document, claiming that NHS staff members can be held liable personally, before saying that the Pope stripped the NHS of its liability in 2013. It's scary, isn't it? Very, very scary if you're an NHS worker. We need these NHS staff to save our patients, and you've got idiots like this trying to ruin it. Anti-vaccine activist Michael Chavez and sovereign citizen Jamie Freeman served staff at Colchester Hospital with bogus legal notices today about the Nuremberg Code and evidence that COVID is an absolute pandemic hoax. It's horrific to see. It's really disturbing me. It's disturbing me because I've got family going in the hospital, and if they go for the hospital causing a riot, it's going to be mayhem, and I will be down there kicking off at the protesters. Before leaving the hospital, the man states he has the evidence that coronavirus pandemic is an absolute pandemic hoax. East Suffolk and North Essex Foundation Trust, ESNEFT, said it would not be commenting on the incident. Yesterday, the UK reported another 49,139 new COVID infections and 179 deaths, within 28 deaths of testing positive for the virus. The legitimacy of the Nuremberg Code in regards of COVID-19 vaccination was recently debunked by Full Fact, a fact-checking website. The set of research principles was developed after experimentation on human subjects without their consent by the Nazis during World War II. Experts told the Full Fact that the code was no longer relevant to vaccinations once they have been authorised. That is pretty much very well disturbing. We've got one more segment to go through. We've got a short break, so I want to share that and come straight back. Just give me about a minute, guys.
What if you could generate a new income stream just by simply loading up some mini ebooks online onto Amazon?
There are just a few days to go now until the defining moment for Boris Johnson's entire political career. The general election of December the 12th will either grant the PM his sorely needed majority to govern for 5 years, or make him the second shortest serving Prime Minister in British history. It's win or lose everything, which is why he's packing everything he possibly can into his daily campaigning schedule. The Sun joined the PM for a full day on the stump, all 16 grueling hours of it from dawn until late at night, for a glimpse behind the scenes and a closer look at the man himself. This is a day in the life of Boris Johnson. It's before dawn in Downing Street, and the number 10 building is already alive with civil servants meeting. On this cold December Monday, the PM is to be briefed on a NATO summit that he is hosting in 2 days' time. He then heads around the corner to CCHQ, the Tories' base and campaign hub. Here he attends an election briefing and receives his first press grilling of the day from me for the next day's edition of The Sun.
Morning, Prime Minister. What are you up to today?
I'm just about to go to a memorial service at Guildhall, and then I'm coming with you to Southampton. See you there.
The Prime Minister's day is scheduled down to the minute. From CCHQ, a police-protected motorcade escorts him and the Home Secretary to a vigil for the recent London Bridge terror attack victims. From there, the motorcade speeds out of London to the south coast for an election stop at the Southampton. To minimise the Prime Minister's vulnerability, his motorcade never stops moving. Specialist police motorcyclists escort the bumper-to-bumper chain of powerful vehicles, slingshotting ahead of the convoy to block traffic on the Prime Minister's route.
Those guys on the motor, those people are unbelievable in what they do to get us through traffic pass. I do feel a bit ashamed sometimes, you know, of the way they help us, but it is essential.
I was at the back of it. It was kind of slightly hard going. A lot of stopping and starting.
I'm very sorry.
Did you agree at Carlton?
No, I get because I'm really too busy writing speeches. And I think
Definitely a car ticket you're writing.
No, on the contrary, it's a way to distract yourself. Really, I don't get car ticket at all.
Arriving in Southampton in what felt like record time, with the speed limit not always observed, the PM holds private meetings with court staff. He's then given a tour of the facilities, inside and out, local and national media and co.
I absolutely love it. It's inspiring to come here to Southampton, talk to the people who run this board. They're called ABP, and you know they've been massively in favour of Brexit for years, and they see the opportunity for this country. What they want is to get Brexit done and move on.
You got a fair bit of stick. Some people share their views with you. Hugh Grant, who played a actual Prime Minister on television, Love Actually, he said a Boris Johnson premiership would be catastrophic, and everyone must do all they possibly can to deny you a majority.
Well, you know, I think there's, of course, people, a lot of people care very strongly about Brexit, and they want to stop it. But I think the people of this country voted for it, and most people I make an exception for the gentleman you mentioned, obviously, but most people I meet do think this is a great country, a great democracy. They want us to move forward. And
We're gonna
great excitement.
we're gonna wrap this up in the bag, ladies and gents. Thank you for all listening, being patient. Boris has talked for another 6 minutes there. We're going to get the show wrapped up. Sorry there, the Prime Minister. We've got to cut the conversation shortly. I've got to finish the show. Colchester will continue its bid to become Essex third city after Sir David Amess's death. I knew this would be going ahead. The council was almost completely in favour. The reason being they're going to be doing it is to capitalise on Colchester, Essex, in a city. Having it as a city is going to attract more tourists coming to Colchester. Colchester City, not Colchester Town, it'll be Colchester City. It'll be the way things are shaping up, the infrastructure, all the hotels and everything getting refurbished. Even Fenwick, that used to be, you know, the Fenwick store, the shops are getting bigger, better, and everything's getting more modernised in the town centre, city centre, should we say now. Colchester will continue in its bid to become a city in the wake of MP Sir David Amess's death. Southend on Sea and Colchester were two of the several towns launching bids for city status as part of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations next year. But Southend's wish came early after Queen agreed to grant city status following the fatal stabbing of Sir David at his constituency surgery last Friday. City status was long-held ambition for Sir David, while there is also talk of a statue being erected in the borough to mark the work he had done over the past 24 years as PM. But any suggestion that Colchester would now pull out of the bidding this time around, following Southend's success, fell apart at a full council meeting last night. Councillors voted almost unanimously to continue its fourth bid for city status, 38 in favour, 2 against and 5 abstentions, largely agreeing that there is room for 3 cities in Essex. I think I say with total confidence that it's not what Sir David would have wished. I say that with confidence because David Amess was a friend of mine for 24 years. Sir Russell added, therefore any reason for saying Colchester should not apply for city status out of respect for Sir David has gone. Colchester continued to do what it was going to do anyway. Councillor Darius Laws, portfolio holder for the Economic, Business and Heritage, led the motion supporting city status for Colchester. Councillor Laws said, it's about what it says for us people. It's about our values. We are open to business. We are open to people fleeing persecution. We've long done that. Long may that continue. We're open to diversity. We're open to forward thinking, not harking back into black and white analog days, but actually grabbing this and trying to shape how we want this place to be in the future. Other councillors in support of the motion emphasised the power of identity that city-states bring. Councillor David King said, the spirit of the energy of the place does have an impact on its occupants, those who continue to see it, those who visit and those who come back. He emphasised that the extra badge of city-status doesn't take away from culture's identity already holds. There is room for free cities in Essex. Councillor John Jowers echoed this when he said, being a city means a lot, and actually city-status means a lot to the government, but more so, it's an honour. City in Chelmsford, as an example, several councillors pointed out that the city has seen benefits since it was granted status back in 2002. Chancellor Paul Dundas said, if the worst which can happen is that becoming a city brings no benefits at all, but at best it generally does help us. It seems a pretty good odds, he added. There is room for free cities. What does a city status bring? It brings more interest, more public interest. It brings more capitalisation for the government lending money to build a city, to build development inside the city, build more shops. Many counties, smaller in population and geography than Essex, have 3 or more cities. Local authorities have until December 8th to formally submit their bids for city status. There's a lot I am well defined, elevated in when it comes to the success of politics. People might come to my show and think this is a mediocre show. No, it's not. It's becoming more etiquette in style and pragmatic with sense every time you tune in. I'm talking more sense and sense itself. Please subscribe to Proclamation News and Gatherence. I've been going for how long and how many more years to come are we going to be here? And I hope you guys do start subscribing, thinking this guy is not just prodigious, he is phenomenal. He is phenomenal. The prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Gatherence. Ladies and gents, it's almost an hour. I'm going to cut the show short because it's also over to my podcast. It's an hour show and it cuts off. So I'm going to cut this story short there. Please subscribe and tune in tomorrow's episode. Not sure what time I'll be in tomorrow, but it will give you a notification if you subscribe. I just want to say take care. I might even bring some talkers in the audience, that listeners in. They want to talk about something that's causing a provocation in their constituency also. I just want to say take care. God bless. One love and speak soon.